Hi, I'm Pat from Garmin, and in this video we will cover how to enter a sample flight plan in the Garmin GTN 750. From the GTN homepage, touch the Flight Plan button. We will begin at the New Century Air Center in Olathe, Kansas. The planned flight is from New Century to Flying Cloud Airport in Minnesota via the St. Joseph's VOR and Fort Dodge VOR. To add the next waypoint, the STJ VOR, touch on Add Waypoint. From the keyboard, touch STJ and press Enter. You'll notice the database contains two entries for the identifier STJ. Select the appropriate VOR by touching on the first entry. Continue adding flight plan waypoints using the Add Waypoint button. Now that the whole flight plan has been entered, we're ready to fly. Let's say, while en route, ATC asks you to add the Mankato VOR to your flight plan after passing the Fort Dodge VOR. The GTN can easily insert a new waypoint between two existing flight plan waypoints. Touch any flight plan waypoint to bring up the Waypoint Options menu. From here, you can select Insert Before or Insert After as appropriate. Since we want to add the Mankato VOR after Fort Dodge, we will touch Fort Dodge and select Insert After. Type in MKT and select the Mankato VOR from the list. Before reaching Fort Dodge, ATC amends your clearance to fly Victor 456 between Fort Dodge and Mankato. Airways can be easily loaded from the Waypoint Options menu. Simply touch the entry point, Fort Dodge in this case, and select Load Airway. Choose the desired airway from the list and select the airway exit point. In this example, the Mankato VOR. The Load Airway page gives an overview of the selected airway section. If everything looks good, touch Load. The flight plan page will now show all of the airway waypoints. If desired, the airway waypoints can be collapsed so that the flight plan waypoints list appears shorter. You can do this by touching on the airway title and selecting Collapse All Airways. Touching on the airway title again will give you the option to expand the airway. As we continue along our route, ATC tells us to expect the RNAV GPS 10 left into Flying Cloud. ATC further tells you to expect the SIGCO transition. Since we have not been cleared for the approach, we can only load the approach to our flight plan. This will put the approach waypoint at the end of our flight plan, but will allow us to continue navigating on our current leg. The easiest way to load an approach procedure from the flight plan page is to touch the destination airport. From the Waypoint Options list, touch Load Procedures. We were instructed to select an approach procedure, so touch on Approach. The approaches available at Flying Cloud automatically pop up on the screen. Touch on RNAV GPS 10 left as instructed by ATC. You will notice an overview page of the approach information. From here, you can see the sequence of the procedure and a plan view of the approach. Notice that the transition field has been set to vectors by default. Most of the time, vectors is what is needed, but in this case, we need to choose the SIGCO transition. Touch the Transition button and select SIGCO from the list of transitions. If you are approaching from the To side of the approach, the GTN will ask if you want to fly a course reversal at SIGCO. In this example, we will select No. Note: if we were approaching the transition waypoint from the other direction, the GTN would automatically add the course reversal to the flight plan. This reversal can be deleted from the flight plan if needed. After confirming the approach parameters are correct, touch on Load Approach. The approach waypoints, starting with SIGCO, are now listed after Flying Cloud Airport in the flight plan. As we get closer to Flying Cloud, ATC clears us to fly the RNAV GPS 10 left approach via the SIGCO transition. In order to activate the approach and start navigation to SIGCO, touch on the Approach title area of the flight plan. Select Activate Approach from the Approach Options menu. The GTN will activate the approach and change the current flight plan leg to a direct to the SIGCO intersection. Additionally, vectors to final can be selected from the Approach Options menu.